we'll just open it up for questions for Coach and go ahead and fire away.
Coach, you've had about a week with this team, a lot of new faces. Kind of what have you taken from it so far?
It's early, obviously, but it's been good. I think it started, or I know it started last year. As wild as this sounds, I'm thankful for what we went through last year, for the fact that, it's the first time we've ever had multiple guys returning that were significantly part of the team and played, big minutes. And what those guys learned from last year has put them so far ahead of your typical sophomore. And just the way they carry themselves now, their confidence, they've experienced the good and the bad. They've been able to battle through it. They've grown so much. And so those guys have really been really good this spring, not only, academically, which is what we talk about. When you're trying to be really good, you got to be good in every phase of your life. And those guys knocked it out. We talk about 12 guys over, I believe it was a 3-0. But those little details will carry them and did carry them into spring workouts. And now that's going to carry them into leadership in the summer with the new guys. And so now you're seeing an older team. When you add, 3 players that are grown men that have been through it with a hardened younger group, you're going to see improvement. And so it's been exciting. Again, it's early. We've got a long ways to go. But this has been a fun group so far, a willing group that's ready to work, and a group that I think is going to be in position to be ready to hit the ground running come fall with a good summer.
How about the big guy from Washington, the football-basketball combo?
Yeah.
What does he bring? What's it like at practice?
Physicality, obviously. He's huge, but he's built for the Big Ten. He's going to make Pharrell better, and Pharrell's going to make him better. Experience. He came from Washington State, which, I have a ton of respect for what Kyle does and how he coaches over there. So he's been taught. He knows how to play. He's played football. He's got really good hands, really good feet. But just he's older, and this is kind of, you say this the right way. I'm glad you kind of get those guys on the back end of it where they've gone through kind of quote unquote the selfish part, which it's human nature. Some of us always go through early. And now he's about the right stuff. He's about winning. He's about every single day coming with a big-time attitude and ready to work. And so he set the tone not only in the weight room, but on the court. But I think he brings that physicality, toughness. He's been through it, and he's been through it at a high level. And so really excited to really get him in the fold and work with him this summer.
I think you're probably at the same tournament this last weekend, these all-star tournaments. And there's just so much conversation about NIL. Tell me about that when you're out there and about, because it's like the first or second question these kids have and whatnot. How has it changed life in college basketball?
Could talk forever about it. It's the new normal. It's part of recruiting. It's part of the student athlete experience. We've embraced it, and now again. That's a good part of what college athletics is now, for guys to be able to be paid and compensated off their name, image, and likeness. And, now it's our job to, we want to keep up with the Joneses. We want to be able to put our student athletes in a good position financially to be able to have that. At the same time, our guys here know that, that can't be the end-all, be-all, right? And I want them to have the experience of playing high-level college basketball and not have it be so business-driven or just about money or the bottom line. You know what I mean? And that's easier said than done. But we've got a group that I think understands that, and now it's our job to, again, we want to be able to put them in the best position to be successful with everything that they do. And now that NIL piece is a new part of that.
Can you talk a little bit about just progress with Parker and Isaiah, where they're at, and what if anything, you expect from them leading into the season?
Yeah, no, so far it's been good. I mean, those guys have been relentless with their work. It's wild. I mean, literally I've seen them every day for 2 years go through the type of rehab that they've had to go through. And I don't know if people fully understand what that's like every day, not only the physical, but the mental part and how taxing that is. But now that they're on the court and able to do stuff with the team and be, they're obviously part of the team, but now to really work out and be part of the team on the floor in the weight room, it's been good to see. And now it's just our job. We got to be smart with it. Our goal isn't just to have those guys available for, July and August, but for next season. And so, we'll rely heavily on them and how their body feels, and rely on our athletic training staff to figure out what the next steps are. But so far it's been really good, really positive. And again, I think to me, it's their mental state more than anything. I know physically, because they've been through it, that they're going to be fine. And now it's just, you want those guys to be mentally ready, and when they go in and they're able to go full contact and play, that they're feeling confident out there.
What kind of leaders are they? Like, you can talk about each one.
Isaiah and Parker.
Yeah.
They've been good. Obviously, they've been through it. They've been, Isaiah's, been here the longest. I remember when I got hired, I was able to get with him maybe a month on the court, and he was the only guy that was the returner. And so, he's been through the league. He's been through, college basketball at the highest level the longest. And so I think he's seen what goes into winning. He understands that. Again, you're getting him now, you're getting an older Isaiah, where when you're forced to sit out, you kind of see things through a different lens. And so his maturity now is through the roof. This ain't the same guy, even close to, that I talked to 2 years ago. And that's a good thing. It's credit to him that he's really just mentally taken a step. And again, he's a grown man. And his outlook, his leadership, the way he approaches practice, workouts, weight room, super appreciative. I think both those guys are, but super appreciative because he knows, it's nothing's promised. And I think the same thing goes for Parker. He's always had a good attitude, relentless worker. He's not afraid to put in the time. Obviously, you guys know, very vocal. When he's around, he's in a room. But I think now, again, another older guy that's just excited for the opportunity now to finally get back feeling right. A guy that's been itching to be in this position for obviously 2 years now. And so there is an excitement with that. And again, it's our job, to make sure that their timetable is right. We don't want to cut any corners. We're never going to put a guy in any danger of being back too soon, especially now in the summer. And just sticking with the process and keeping those guys positive.
Are they in a bit of like a pitch count now, or are they full go?
So they're full go, everything but like full go contact, 5-on-5. So we'll wait. That'll probably be a July deal, depending on just to make sure it's right. But everything other than that, they're full go.
You look at your backcourt, obviously without recruiting, you had Braden, and now you bring in some new guys with experience, and then you bring up talented freshmen in. Like, what's that dynamic? And it's been a short time for some of the guys, but what's that dynamic look like?
It's been really good because it's really it's heightened that group's workout. I put those guys in a group together for right now, and it's just that iron sharpens iron, and Braden's another guy that has taken a step. He was able to have a really good spring, got back healthy, got back feeling right. He's gained great weight and strength in the weight room. Again, if you saw him walking around, just knowing these guys as much as I'm around him, he doesn't move like a sophomore, and that's a good thing. He has a confidence, he has a bounce to himself. Again, he's not second guessing anything. He knows how we do things. He knows what's expected in a workout. He knows the drills, and so now you're able to do that confidently because you know what's coming. And I think that's why guys make a jump from their freshman to sophomore year. Kind of that anxiety goes away a little bit, and now he's just comfortable in his space, and you can see it because he's doing a phenomenal job. And again, he's made that group better. Those older guys have made him better. Cam, the young, freshman that we have, he's young, but he's talented enough where he can push those guys. And so it's that iron sharpens iron, and that's what you want. And we have that in all three groups that we've worked out, and that's been the fun part. We haven't had that in 2 years where we've been able to even have three individual groups. We literally have not. So this is the first time. I looked out there the other day, and I told one of the guys on staff, I'm like, man, it looks like we actually have like a team. And so now again, it's those guys, talk a lot about competing against themselves. It's like you versus yesterday. If you do that, that'll make the group better, which will make the team better. And so it's a fun group. Willing workers, again, it's good to be old. Those guys, this is not their first rodeo. You're not teaching some of the stuff that goes into the details of winning. And so, that's been fun.
Older,
Coach,
go ahead.
touching base back on the NIL deal, losing a player like Jamison Battle to a conference team, essentially to an NIL deal, what are your thoughts on that as a coach, and how do you make sure that doesn't keep happening within your program, players leaving to go take bigger paychecks in conference?
Well, I think that's the nature of it. I don't, honestly, it is what it is. Like, every guy, every person is going to have a decision. We had guys that, you look at the returners, especially the guys that played, all those guys could have left. All those guys had an option. And so each player looks at it differently, and again, in this NIL space, there's no rule book for it. There's no handbook. There's no you'll see each team gets hit differently. Some teams might not get hit at all. Some teams might get hit a lot. You can't focus on it. You really can't. I think, again, it goes back to my point earlier. I think the school is really committed to doing what we need to do to help our student athletes with NIL. It's a growing process. We want to be as competitive as anybody else. I don't care who it is. Could be teams in our league, could be teams across the country. That's the standard that we want to have. And so, again, it's an ever-changing process, but it also is, it's the nature of college sports. Across the board, it's what's happening. I don't look into it more of, whether a kid went in conference or out of conference. Honestly, you look at the numbers, it is what it is. It just doesn't matter to me.
And any friendly trash talk between you and Jameson about being able to play each other this upcoming season?
No, we have not crossed that bridge. No.
Speaking of, two guys that stayed home and play for in the front court, Dawson and Pharrell, at the end of the season, they looked really good playing together, which didn't always happen during the season for injuries and things like that. But what have you seen from them?
No, again, I want to put the cart before the horse, but I'm just excited to get guys back that have been through it. And you look at Dawson, this will be the first time where in consecutive years he's going to have the same coach. He's kind of going to have the same role. And again, unless you've been through it, you don't realize how important that is, how valuable that is. It'd be like any athlete, having coordinators every year. It's like your head spinning. It's hard to get comfortable in your space. Well, now he's got that confidence because he knows exactly what's expected, exactly how we're going to play, exactly how to get better. And so now those guys are just putting in the work. And I think to have those two a year seasoned is only going to help us. I think it's great that Pharrell was able to get the minutes that he got because he knows what it takes now. And that's important. You can talk to these guys till you're blue in the face about what it takes in the offseason or what they're going to be faced with during the season, and they can believe it, they can't. But unless you've been through it, you don't really know. Well, now Pharrell's been through it, and so again, his work ethic and level has just been upped, and so those two guys are only going to get better. And I think now they're getting comfortable with playing with each other, spacing wise, and being able to kind of be a really good combo.
How much too does it help the coaching staff with the returners that you have enough data on guys where you're because I'm sure you spend much of your time just learning. You think you know your guys, and then you see them now for a year. Now, hey, we can utilize them this way or this way now that we know what we got.
No, exactly. Even with guys, you look at Elijah and Mike. Like, you can watch all the film you want. You don't really know a guy till you get on the court with him, or totally understand till you get on the court with him. And so it is. It's nice to have guys where, like, I know what they're going to do. I know kind of what they can and can't do. And then you try to improve that in the off season, and they know too. And I think that's the other piece where, again, Josh is in a leadership role. He can show these young guys, the intensity level that it takes. But he's also hungrier now because he's experienced playing, and so there's such a value to that. And That's what we want to attack this summer is be able to get everybody kind of caught up, everybody on the same level, and then and ready to attack the fall when it's here.
Was there anything with Dawson that you want to specifically have him worked on here in the summer?
No, I think now it's when you get to that point now, it's about being consistent. It's about, can you be a guy that, like, there's no drop off in just the production. And it's not to say he's got to get, a double-double or he's got to shoot this percentage. But now that he's comfortable in the space, how consistent can you be every day, every rep, every practice, every game? And I think that could take him to that next level, is that consistency factor where there's no drop off. It's like when we had Jordan Murphy. I knew every game what Murphy, you could pencil it in, and it's like, can you be that guy where now you're relied upon, we can pencil you in for this, this, and this. And, I think now, too, his confidence is through the roof. He had, again, like our other guys, had an unbelievable spring, and he's itching to get back competing.
One or two more, Coach?
Do you scrimmage a lot this time of year, or is it mainly just fundamental work, and do you want these guys to scrimmage, don't play pickup games, do you get much from it?
Right. So we mix it up. I do think just the second year, you always learn from every year. And I thought some years, we had a good balance of that. I want to get back to a little bit, like especially early with the new guys, teaching some of the details. So we've done a lot of small group stuff early. And again, you also worry about the conditioning part, for guys that have been off, for guys that are in the portal. You got to realize now, if you're in the portal, sometimes, you're not getting a normal spring workout in. So you're behind already just physically. The worst thing you want to do is all of a sudden now you're hungry to get after it, and you've got a hammy, you've got a back, you've got an ankle, and now those guys are out. So it's the process of like getting them into the shape where when you compete, they're at a level where they're not going to get hurt. But also just focus on the fundamentals and the details and teaching how we play in small group. And then also for me, selfishly, I want to know what they are. Again, like I can watch tape all I want, and you can watch a little bit when you're going up and down, but you're watching big picture more. But in small group, like I can really watch a guy for, whatever it is, 45, 50 minutes and figure out, okay, he's really good at this, or I don't like this, or we can change this. So we're mixing it up early. We'll do some small 5-on-5 and just little spurts because there is the competing factor that I want to get good at this summer where guys, there's a winner and a loser, and there's consequences, and we want to program and condition ourselves to be ready to compete at all times.
Speaking of that, Ben, have you had any conversations with Mark Boyle about the direction of this program and what he expects of you this upcoming season?
Yeah, well, we talk all the time, and I think, Mark's great. He understands where we're at. He understands the process of this. I think, we live in a society now where it's microwave. And I just know that, like, when you let something bake, it tastes better, but it takes longer. That's the reality of it. And we're all, we all fall into it. And I tell our guys, don't fall into the trap of that instant gratification, and again, it's everybody. And I think, if the guys can train themselves to do that, not only just in basketball, but just in life, that like that trap of it's got to be instant. It's like then once you get it, and it's like it's that empty feeling, right? And you're always, it's like what's next? What's next? That success didn't happen quick enough, right? And I think for us, and for me, I'm so big on just that process driven. And if you want something to last, you have to be good with going through the suck. You do. Like, that's the reality of it. I firmly believe that. And I'm more than good with that. Because you're going to see the dividends of that in time. And again, Mark's been great. But more importantly, our guys have been great. Our guys understand. That's why guys chose to come back, is because they saw themselves getting better. They saw progress. They understand there's a plan. And that's why I'm excited about this year. But I think that's the society we live in, You're just trying to teach these guys that, it's all about lasting long. And you wanna put yourself, and it's our goal as a program to be a program that, you can maintain. And there's not those ebbs and flows. There's not this or that. You have substance, you have a base, and you're able to maintain.
Does UCLA and USC help your recruiting? that as?
It hurts because they're really good. So I'll say that. You know what I mean? Like now you've added two teams that are brands. So the league's going to be better because they're well coached and they're talented and they got a lot of resources. But I do think now with recruiting, you combine NLI and you combine just the geographically where we can touch and reach. Yeah, now like if you make a call to a West Coast, it's not as foreign as maybe before, right? So like when UCLA and USC are recruiting all those guys, they're also talking about the Big Ten. They're talking about the league. They're talking about teams in the league. They're talking about the conference. They're selling Big Ten basketball. And now kids are going to be able to watch it and see it on TV. And so, yeah, no, it does. I think, recruiting is hard enough, but now when you're able to open it up a little bit more, there is a different pocket and pool, and there's curiosity with that too. So now you may have a family that didn't necessarily understand maybe the Midwest or Big Ten basketball, but now there's a curiosity to it. They're open to it. They're receptive to it. So, yeah, no, I think it's something that outside of them being really good and having to play them, I definitely think there's some positive that you can draw from it.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.